Hello my friends, welcome to this channel. I'm Anna and I help you grow beautiful and healthy plants. Now in this video we're going to talk about winter season, how it affects our plants and what you can do. Really quick 8 tips that are absolutely for free that you can do to help your plants not grow, not thrive, but actually survive in a very positive and good way the winter season so that they have the full energy to thrive, to bloom, and to grow as crazy as they can in springtime. Let's start. So first of all, please don't expect your plants to thrive, to flower in winter seasons. When the temperatures drop, when it's not as bright as they used to be in spring and summer times, of course things change and plants stop growing just a little bit. They will not grow as fast as they could. Of course, most of the houseplants that we have are tropical plants, and this means that they are used to thrive in a weather, in a climate that's always warm, always bright, very humid. And when we grow them inside in our places in the climates that are not tropical, basically, we have summer, spring, winter, and autumn. And of course, things change in these different periods. In autumn, in winter, we have colder temperatures, we have shorter period of daylight, and of course, this affects our plants. I'm not even talking about humidity and all other questions as well. But what you can do is basically don't expect that they will be thriving. That's number one. I've seen so many people, and also in the comments under my YouTube channel, that basically people say my plant stopped growing. What to do? I fertilize it, it dies. What am I doing wrong? That's exactly what you do wrong. But let's go through this step by step, and I want to give you 8 tips. Well, tip number 1 is, of course, when the temperatures drop, you need to keep your plants as warm as possible. So don't move them to the heaters, of course, but put them in a room when you have at least stable temperatures so that the temperatures during the day and at night don't really fluctuate a lot, so that you don't have, for example, 20 degrees, 25 degrees during the day and then 15 or 10 at night. So this can, of course, damage the plants. So put them in a room with stable temperatures, more or less. Tip number 2 is, of course, all sorts of problems with the light. When the days get shorter, number 1, what you can do is, of course, bring them closer to the window, if possible, as close as possible. If you had a plant, let's say, that was in the center of your room or at the corner of your room, please bring the plants as close to the window as possible. But of course, here, be careful so that the leaves do not touch the cold glass of your windows, because this can also damage your plants. And I'm not even talking if you would open the window and this cold air would come on your plants directly. Even if it's for a minute, it can significantly damage your plant. Tip number 3 is, of course, if it's possible, do not close the curtains. Even if it's white curtain, even if it's transparent curtain, it still blocks a little bit of light. And when you don't have enough light in general, this transparent curtain can even block significant amount of light, which is so crucial for plants in winter times. So if it's possible during the day, at least open the curtains so that you have as much light as possible, and then you can close it again at night, of course. But making the curtains close, that's what I actually do the whole time, opening, closing, moving the plants back and forth, because we need to survive the winter. Tip number 4. This is something that maybe you have never thought about, because at least I clean the windows in autumn and then in spring. I don't clean my windows in winter, or I used to not to clean them in winter, but it's also very important, because this very slight dust or not clean glass of the windows again blocks a little bit of light. So to make sure that we have as much light as possible, please, you will need to wash your windows in winter as well, at least once in 2 weeks, especially if it rains a lot, if it snows a lot, if it's dirty. So try to make sure that you also clean the windows. Tip number 5, washing your plants. Yes, you will need to wash your plants as well, because if you see, even if you don't see this tiny layer, very thin layer of dust on the leaves of your plant, this of course again blocks the light, but also collection of humidity. So basically, if the leaves have dust on them, it will be hard for them to, to pick the humidity from the air, but also the light. So this layer of dust again blocks the sun, blocks the light for the leaves. So try to make sure that you wash them. So you can either take a very soft cloth and wash them. There are even like gloves from microfiber that you can use, and you can just basically clean your the leaves. But I must say it's easy and not so time consuming if the leaves are big. For example, on my monstera, I can easily go and clean all the leaves. But if I have 30 Hoyas, 50 other plants with tiny leaves like philodendrons, you cannot go and wash all the leaves one by one by hand. In this case, I bring them to the bathtub, I open the shower, and I use basically a water of temperature that is basically not so hot and also not cold, something that's you will not feel, or you will feel comfortable on your hands. And holding the leaves, I will wash them carefully, let them dry a little bit, and then put them again in a warm place when they can get dry faster. This way I can wash them in a very efficient and fast way. Otherwise it would take me days to wash them. Tip number 6, you can use also grow lights. Of course, grow lights can be expensive, especially if you have a lot of plants and you need a lot of light, a lot of lamps. But this can be a solution to at least keep your plants surviving, maintaining them in the winter months. For 2-3 months, maybe you will need to help them with a little bit of extra light if you don't have that much sun. For example, I don't have that much sun and I don't use grow lights, but I move all my plants as close to the window as possible. Grow lights is another solution. Tip number 7, and by the way, stay until the end of the window because I have 2 exciting news for you that you can basically use to even benefit from this channel and learn from this channel even more. So tip number 7, don't fertilize your plants in winter months. Again, so many people wrote me that, my plant stopped growing, I started to fertilize it, it died. What was wrong? That's exactly what's wrong, because to understand how plants function in winter time, when the temperatures are low, the bright light is gone, it's basically they also slow down their processes. The plants do not need to grow fast in winter months, but they also feel the difference in the weather and they also start kind of maintaining themselves. That's why they don't grow a lot of new leaves, a lot of course, and they don't flower because it takes so much energy from the plants. And in this time, when their processes are slower and you fertilize them, they are not able to process the whole food, the whole nutrients that you give them, and that's even damaging them. So in winter months, you do not to fertilize them at all unless it's a plant that grows specifically in winter. Specifically in winter it needs fertilizing, but in this case you will need to make sure that they have bright environment, again using grow lights, and totally different conditions. But we're talking now about tropical plants that need to survive the winter in non-tropical climates. So stop fertilizing them and you can start fertilizing them again in spring when the days will be longer, the temperatures will be higher, the bright light will be for longer hours, and then they will start to grow with full energy, full speed, and will flower. And tip number 8, before I tell you about this exciting news, so tip number 8 is stop also watering as much as you used to in spring and summer. You still need to water your plants, of course, but reduce the amount of water significantly and also the frequency of watering significantly, especially if you notice some sort of mold on the top layer of the soil of your plants. It's a sign of 2 things: that you water too much and that the temperatures are lower. So again, in this case, you can remove the top layer of the soil and move your plants in a warmer place and stop watering, or at least significantly reduce watering until you will see that the plant needs it. And when the plant needs it, when the soil is dry, or when you see that, okay, now the leaves are a little bit softer, not wilted of course, but sometimes when you look at the plants you notice, especially peace lily will show you definitely, lavender will show you definitely, and there's so many plants that will show you by the way they look that their leaves need water to be more, stronger. Okay, and the two news that I'm going to tell you is that number one, so many people commented under my videos on YouTube that I wish I could send you the picture of my plant, and you ask for an advice, but I cannot really see your plant. I don't know what causes, let's say, brown leaves, how you can save it. And there's no way on YouTube that you can basically upload your pictures for me to see and for others to see and recommend you, give you some tips. But as you know, on YouTube, we have YouTube community tab, and here from time to time I post some pictures or videos or information or even polls for you. And by the way, thank you so much for participating in these polls, because I create these videos for you, and when you participate in a poll, I know exactly what you need, and then I prepare the videos for you based on your priorities and desires. But from now on, you can send me your pictures in the email, and I will upload your pictures with your questions on YouTube community tab, where not only me, but all other participants, viewers of this channel can also give you tips. So this way we will grow plants even better, having the tips and having the advice not only from me, but from everyone else on this channel. And exciting news number two, if you are a content creator about plants and if you would like to create videos about plants, but it's a lot of hassle to have a YouTube channel, to record videos, edit them, upload them, I don't know, do the whole marketing thing behind the scenes, what's going on basically behind the scenes of these final videos, you can again send me a message, send me your videos, I can upload it on this channel, and we will share the details later in the conversation. We can agree basically on the terms and details of how we collaborate so that we have your videos about plants also on this channel. Stay passionate about plants, and I will see you in the next one.